Should we be having seafood on the carnivore diet? A lot of people have been doing just beef, bacon, butter, and eggs on the carnivore diet. But is that really a smart strategy when we know how critically important it is to get enough iodine and omega-3s for our health and our brain health? Hi, I'm Dr. Zelder, and I was featured on the first ever carnivore diet documentary called Reverse TV series, and I've lost and maintained 35 pounds, mainly by raising my baseline dopamine levels, as I explained in this YouTube video. If you go back 50,000 years ago, your best bet to find humans is if you go close to the shore and go to coastal areas. This means that there's a good chance that our DNA thrives when we're giving it enough iodine and omega-3s, which are only possible when you're consuming seafood. In fact, for most of human history, living near the water was a survival necessity. Why did our human ancestors really love living near coastal areas? There are several reasons for that. Number one, drinking water. We had no plumbing in the paleo era, and so living near a body of water was a survival necessity. Rivers and seas also provided fish and shellfish, and it supported animal and plant life nearby. Also, bodies of water provided a means of transportation, so it was easier to travel via a river or the ocean. Also, the closer you get to a body of water, the more you have fertile land that has a lot of nutrient-rich soil that can support farming. Think of areas like the Nile, the Tigris, Euphrates, and the Indus valleys. Finally, bodies of water provided a means of defense. It made invaders a little bit harder to reach and attack and take your land. Also, there's good evidence that living near the water helped us survive during climate swings. So when we could not hunt inland due to drought or cold snaps, aquatic foods, so fish and shellfish, were always available. And some researchers point to certain aquatic tendencies that we developed as indications of just how closely we were living around bodies of water. We have the ability to hold our breath, we don't have hair like other mammals, and we have a natural affinity to swim. And this is called the aquatic ape hypothesis. It is debatable, there's controversy around it, but it's just something to think about. All in all, living by the water wasn't just a convenience, it was an evolutionary jackpot. Now, you might be thinking, okay, fine, I'll reincorporate some fish and shellfish, but that might not be enough, because if you have already developed an omega-3 or an iodine deficiency, just reincorporating seafood might not be enough. And I wouldn't recommend just supplementing with iodine. Remember, iodine is a very powerful mineral. There is not a virus or bacteria or a parasite that has developed resistance against iodine, but that also means if you're taking a lot of it, that can also wipe out the good bacteria in your gut. It's a really powerful antiseptic. So you really want to get that dose perfectly right. You don't want to just supplement without knowing where you stand. Testing before and after is absolutely critical if you are thinking about optimizing for your iodine status. This is why I always order the 24-hour iodine test from Dr. Zelder. It is linked below if you want to check out that test. But I never ever recommend or suggest just taking iodine supplementation without knowing where you stand. Same thing goes for omega-3. Test, don't guess. The one that I like to order for my clients is the Mosaic Diagnostics one. It used to be called the Great Plains test, and you want your result to be anywhere between 8 to 12%. And again, if you want to get an at-home testing kit, check out the link for the omega-3 test in the description box below. Now, for omega-3 supplementation, you can take fish oil or krill oil or desiccated organ supplements like the ones that have brain, because that's the one that's going to give you the DHA, which is the biologically active form of omega-3. If you want to supplement, the brand that I like is Ancestral Supplements, and you can use code Dr. Sarah to get 15% off from ancestralsupplements.com. And if it turns out that you do have deficiencies in iodine and omega-3s, I would recommend supplementing, retesting again to ensure you've corrected that deficiency. And then at that point, you may want to choose to just reincorporate seafood and shellfish into your diet without necessarily having to maintain this supplementation. And then again, down the line, you check again to see if your diet is enough to prevent another nutrient deficiency from developing over the long term. And if you've reached this part of the video, I will send you a free copy of my guide, the 30-day Carnivore Diet Challenge Guide, when you sign up to my newsletter at drsarahzelder.com/newsletter. And if you are looking for one-on-one coaching, check out my packages at drsarahzelder.com/coaching. And you can use code YouTube to get 50% off all of my coaching packages packages within the next 48 hours. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. I always read and answer all of my comments. Also, if you enjoy this content, make sure you give this YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.